Hey everyone, it's Neil here from the Get Real and Neil series. Today I'm joined by one of my long-term clients, Phill Tsingos. G'day, Phill.
G'day, Neil. How are you?
Good, thank you. You were supposed to be at kids cricket today, but I can see from your background, those people listening on podcasts won't be able to see, but you're at home?
Yes, got rained out this morning, so we'll have a look this afternoon. We might get back into it. So
good luck.
Trying to spend the day off with the kids.
Nice work. Nice work. Hey, so you've been a client for, I don't know, a long time. I'm going to say 15 years-ish or something or other. Yeah.
Around 50, yeah, it would be. Yeah.
We connected some stage with a bunch of kids and married and all that. I've helped you out with insurance over the time. What's the I've probably not asked you this before, but what's the Phill Tsingos story from where did you grow up and
I'm Mexican, so I grew up in Melbourne in a place called St Albans.
So south of the border, hey?
Well, yeah, and it's near where they made that Underbelly series. So I grew up in all that sort of area.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So we grew up around all that sort of thing. So yeah, it was good. I've got half Greek heritage, half Estonian. So actually, my wife's brother-in-law, when he first met me, and he goes, "So where are you from?" And I said, "Oh, I'm half Greek, half Estonian." And he goes, "Are you a stone-eating Greek?" And I'm like, good on you. So yeah, so I grew up there, and then went to school down there, and when I was in high school, I went to a couple of different high schools. So I started off in Melbourne, then went out to the country, and then came back and finished in Melton.
Okay. And so, did you go straight into nursing? Because I know that's what your career is.
Yeah, so I got into nursing. Well, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a garbologist. I loved the idea of standing on the back of the truck, just
riding the back of the
trash cans in, not like these plastic ones, the old-fashioned ones.
Real ones.
Because I had friends that used to find cameras and all this loot that was left on top of these bins all the time. So I was like, oh, how cracking is that? So that was the original theory.
That was the dream.
That was the dream. And then I went through the old CES book. I don't know if you remember the CES books, the employment services back in the
Commonwealth Employment Services. Yep.
Yeah. So they used to have the big thick manual that come out with every job that you could ever do. Like it's like as big as the Yellow Pages, massive thing. So I sat down there and circled all the things I like to do through the whole book in different areas. And it sort of like nursing was sort of like one of the things, because you got to talk to people. It was a bit sciencey.
Yep.
And there's a lot of freedom. You could do a lot of things in the nursing profession. Nursing's one of the broadest professions you could be in. There's so much scope. You can do everything from be like in aged care, community care, disability care, all the way to in the hospital, being in critical care, theatres, medical wards, oncology. So and then you can get into like governments with policies, and into a lot of corporations have nurses because we're very good critical thinkers and problem solving, and we're used to working under pressure. So their skills just is really broad ranging. So I like all that sort of thing.
That's really cool. When you started, was being a male nurse a thing, or is it?
Oh yeah, male nurses. I had about 5 male nurses and about 240 people. Yeah, about 5 of us. But never thought anything of it. Didn't care. And there was a few the older male nurses that, like, when you got out and worked in the hospitals, they were all like certificate trained. So I was one of the first unit. I was the actual first year of university. So
yeah,
we were lucky in the fact that they still had a lot of you've got to do like nearly 1,000 hours a year in a hospital. So I did like a lot of hospital work, where now they don't do hardly any, and it's a lot of theory-based stuff. So So we had really good grounding in hospital, but got the really good education with all the science and all the research and being able to understand the theory behind things. So it was a good combination.
Do you happen to know broadly what the male female thing intake is these days?
Oh yeah, it still is. Hasn't changed. It's about 9% males.
90%, yeah.
91% men, and it will never change because the personality of like generalization, but like a lot of the personality of nurses is we're very agreeable people. You have to be very agreeable to be a nurse. If you're very confrontational and you stand your ground and no means no and yes means yes, you won't get far because you're dealing with sometimes up to 100 different people a day. Depends where you work. You know, that's 100 personalities that you have to work your way through
to get your job done.
The best outcome for them. You know,
yeah.
And unless you've done that job, unless you've been able to see so many people and work through that much, if you're not very agreeable, you won't actually help anybody because you're going, you know, and because there's 60,000 nurses just in Queensland. So, you know, you're going to have spectrums and, you know, there's a line of personality. But on the whole is you've got to be very agreeable. So the thing is, most blokes aren't very agreeable people. So
present company excluded.
I'm very agreeable, but it's not a real common thing. Like when I go out with my mates and stuff like that, it's you sort of take a back seat and listen to them more than impose yourself, sort of thing, or have your well, no, this is and that. So I think that's why it's always been like 9%, because
there you go.
Most blokes wouldn't put up with the things you got to put up with. Like you get spoken to in real bad ways a lot of the time, even though they have the zero tolerance of abuse and things. You still cop it because there's people with mental illness, there's people that are demented, there's people on substance abuse. So you see it all, like, and you be it all,
and with the range you said there before about like nursing covers so many different areas that you can go into. Did you end up in a particular area?
Yeah, so I started off in a it's called a hematology oncology. So I did all the bone marrow transplants, and we started off with stem cell stent. So people had leukemia. That's the people I looked after. And then I went into the road trauma. So I worked at the Alfred Hospital in Melbourne. It's one of the biggest road trauma centres. And so I used to work there, and that was quite exciting. And you just learn to, can I just tell them to turn the piano off?
Oh, this is the kids. Great.
Hey, can we stop the piano?
Nice
one. Christmas tree in January. There you go.
You can't be doing that.
That's my 8-year-old having a crack.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, so I went from hematology oncology, went to road trauma, and then I went to England and worked over there for about 5-6 years, and did everything from intensive care. I worked in emergency, cardiology, all that sort of stuff, medical surge, and then I came back. And I went to Palm Island, a little island up north, just near Townsville, a little Aboriginal community, and worked there. And then that's where I met my wife. And then we travelled around Australia nursing. And so this is a flexibility in nursing is we'd call up rural. We didn't want to be in the city. We wanted rural remote. So we did like 12 months of ringing up hospitals saying, can we come work for you? You put us up for 3 months or 6 months, and we'll do 6 months work. And you really got to see the culture of the place because the locals took you in, and you got to go to their parties, and they take you to the stuff that tourists would never see. And because you're helping out the community, they really were fond of having you around. So it was good. It was good. So we did that, and then we settled in Brisbane, and I've worked in ICU. I was a manager of an ICU for a while, and then I went into emergency nursing in about 2010. So that's sort of my nursing sort of career. So it's very varied. So I've gone from remote out in the bush where you got to do it all yourself with a few gum leaves and a couple of sticks, to highest tech, brand new, most modern equipment you can have. And what profession can say that? So
yeah, that's good. It sounds exciting for you.
No. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, and I've certainly known you. I think a bit before, but as you started in emergency, we were.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I met you when I was the manager of ICU.
ICU, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. And so yeah.
Good stuff. But so that's really cool. I think that's the Phill backstory. One of the things that interests me, the last time we were you're in our office having an insurance catch up. Yes. You talked about a business that you've started.
And restarted
and had a couple of cracks. And
yes.
And I think that's where I'd like this podcast, this video, to maybe focus on, is, if that's all right, to talk about, what is it? Why did you get into it? And then we'll talk about how it's gone.
How it's going. Okay. So it's called now Support Worker Hub, and I've had that.
Support Worker Hub.
So it's a place where I wanted support workers to come and I want to be the centre of education excellence for support workers. Yeah. And what started me off was in about 2010 and 11, working in emergency. And this is the stop-start bit, is I'd come in and I'd see, it started with the elderly, and it was like, we got a lot of elderly in and they were not cared for properly. And I'm like, what's going on? How can they be at home and not get, like, they were not washed, they were not shaved, they were not cleaned. I had one poor old lady, she was 92, came in by ambulance, and they said her oxygen's really low, didn't know what it was. And I went to open her mouth, and her mouth was sealed up with saliva, like that hard. I had to punch my finger through it just to get it to breathe. Now, she wasn't home alone. So these were people that actually had carers, or in an institution like a nursing home or aged care facility, had people caring for them, or supposedly caring for them, that weren't. And I'm like, what's going on here? And a lot of adult children were like, I don't want mum to go to a nursing home, but I don't know what else to do. So I made my original business around helping adult children keep their elderly parents out of home and safe in their own house, and getting the appropriate care and guiding them through how to do it.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Does, yes.
Here's me doing the product before finding out what the people want to pay for. So what happened was...
Good lesson. Listening along, note that one down.
I did all these videos, did all this stuff. Like I did like 50 videos on how to help and all this stuff. And I was going to come out and do like a big consultation and say, this is how to map out a full plan. And we do 6 monthly checkups just to see how everything's going. And I'd guide them in and do all that stuff. Yeah. And I was going to charge like $2,000 to do it, like, which is nothing when you consider it's $1 million to go into a nursing home. So I thought, well, see, this is me thinking and not actually testing it. And so as soon as, people were like really helpful for the information, but when I started saying, it's going to be $2,000, no, we'll just go to the nursing home, or they can go have an assessment somewhere else, see you later. And it's like, but you're crying at their bedside, pleading to do something, but you're not willing to invest in keeping them home. So that's when I realized that people really only spend money on themselves or something they have to. So it was very disheartening, and I was like, far out, I've done all this stuff, there's this massive problem out there, and no one's solving it because no one wants to pay for it. And it's one of those things. And this is before NDIS and My Aged Care came in. So this is when the government subsidised stuff. And then after that, actually, when we had our fourth child, my wife was looked after by a midwife, and he was kicking off his disability business, and he was getting into it. And he asked me to come and educate for them. And so I was their educator, and I looked at the disability space, and I'm like, oh my God, it was like a light bulb moment. Is like, these support workers have no formal education. There is no formal, they do this Cert 3, and they do a Cert 3 course to teach you how to clean and wash people. But the actual Cert 3, there is no information on how to shower someone, wash someone, and clothe someone properly, or hoist them up, or any of that sort of stuff. So it's whatever someone makes up. And they were learning this stuff online. And like, you can have a portion of online, but you need face-to-face. If I'm hoisting and showering and feeding someone, it needs to be face-to-face interaction, and you need a skilled professional like a registered nurse to show you. Because, you know, see one, do one, teach one doesn't work. And the reason I know is the NDIS now, one of their biggest problems is dysphagia, and they're all panicking about it because people are aspirating, so their food's getting stuck in their lungs because they're not set up, and there's a proper plan to meal times, and not following that. And every nurse knows how to do it. But because they're employing support workers, these guys have got a Cert 3, as you know, like a 16-week course, and they're meant to go out in the community and do what nurses do who spent 3 years of training. So that's where I started to see gaps. And I didn't know what my product was. Like, what was I doing? Like, I'm just doing mishmash. I had 36 learning packages. I'd just go out when people go, Phill, come and help. Phill, come and help. Teach these guys quick. Teach these guys quick. And it's like, it was very just like a helicopter drop in, do this little thing, run away, and little value. Like I gave a lot of information, but didn't really impact on the client. Because one thing I noticed, the clients in Australia, like we've got NDIS and My Aged Care, and I can tell you a bunch of them are not cared for properly. I'll probably get told off the same, but I don't care because it's true. Because there's no nurse involvement with the clinical side. So disabled people have two things going on, not just their disability. They also usually have a comorbidity, something like diabetes, epilepsy, heart disease, stuff like that, right? And they're managed by non-clinical people all the way at home because it's about your lifestyle. Well, the thing is, their lifestyle is a big portion of their health problem that needs to be managed too. And so we come in and see all this and go, really, what's going on? You've got the wrong people doing the wrong things, and they're not looked after.
So you can't really get it. Can't really get the positive shift that you might be able to impart if you were there more time.
So to me, the NDIS is to help disabled people. Maslow's hierarchy. I use Maslow's hierarchy, and so the bottom level is physical. So it's you're fed, you're watered, and you're showered. Your hygiene needs are met. Then next level up is safety. Do we keep people safe? Because every person has the right to self-actualize and find meaning in their life. That's my belief.
Cool.
But we're not allowing we're not allowing people on the NDIS to do that, or My Aged Care, because we're not putting in the proper structure to make sure that their physical needs are met, that their safety needs are met, so then they can move up and find meaning. Because if your daily thing is, oh my God, I don't know who's coming in to wash me. Are they going to do it properly? Are they going to leave me in the chair? Are they going to feed me properly? Am I going to choke on my drink of cup of tea? Because I don't know what I'm getting in. How can you go, oh, I feel comfortable and settled enough to go, I want to give back and find some responsibility.
Something else,
One of the biggest causes of suicide is it's not really depression, it's a lack of meaning in life. So one of the problems a lot of people have, or the other one is they feel like a burden. So a lot of
better off without me.
Yeah, you're better off with. I'm just a waste of time. You're better off without me, and they're the two biggest causes of suicide.
So you were seeing this when you were helicoptering in, hopping out, but not really feeling you could change.
Change is happening. So, and this is happening over an 8-year period.
Yeah,
so this isn't quick.
No,
and so it costs a lot of time. So in the background, I've still got a family. I'm still working. 40 to 50 hours a week. I'm still trying to do this business as well, because it wasn't about doing business just to make money. To me, it was about like, these people are in desperate need. They're vulnerable. They've got no voice, and there's no one looking out for them. Like, all these people are saying they're doing the best thing, but like, I could tell you really bad stories, but I just don't know how
let's
far
not
you
go
want to
there. Let's not go.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, no, I've got to keep going. So and then that led me into Support Worker Hub and going, right. Actually, I got onto the Gatton Institute. Do you know the Gatton Institute?
No, I don't.
No. It's an independent government institute that does all research for the government on different areas of where policy should go and change. And I liked the way they operated. They were just a small group that did a lot of research and were quite an authority. So I wanted to build myself as like an authority in home care. I want to be the person that people can come to and trust and say, Phill, what's going on here? What's the best way to go? Or Phill, I've got this situation. I've got a problem. Can you come and help me? And I'd go, yep. So that's why I made Support Worker Hub, because it's a hub. It's not just training. It's an education. It's making support workers feel like they're more knowledgeable and have the skills and ability to look after someone properly so they can self-actualize. So that's
so good. It's my
project.
That's the current where you're at, isn't it? Like that's
So now I've actually, well, the thing is though, that's the philosophy, but you need a product to sell to make the business work, don't you? So and that's what I'm at the moment, of developing a education system that actually will, I can take it to all the service providers do the care in home. So I'll be able to take that product to the service providers and go, look, here's the product. This will help yours, because the service providers, they're sending support workers to work by themselves in an uncontrolled environment with limited knowledge. You know, well, it's very risky, and like people are like, oh yeah, but you know, it's cheap. It's like, okay, but that's not fair on the poor client who needs this extra care and help. So that's where we want to come and go, right, let's get good. If they're going to be independent, they're going to be in an uncontrolled environment, well, let's improve their knowledge and skill that they can manage things until like ambulance can come or something like that, or improve someone's life so their physical needs are met, their safety needs are met, and then they can self-actualize from there.
Beautiful. And
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, thank you. And is it the case that that there is a business partner, or you're talking with somebody coming in on this with you?
I've been looking at I've been looking at that, but I'm thinking I've been doing it for 8 years and I know what I want. And I always like someone to help me, because I never trust that I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Healthily, I hope.
Not guessing. I know that stuff. I mean, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing, like business-wise. I don't trust that I know business, because I've had so many fits and starts with the business side of it.
Yeah.
Like the clinical side, like I'm a 30-year veteran of nursing. Like, that's bread and butter to me. And I wish business was like that for me, but it's not.
Well, yes, that's been one of the things that our relationship has been built on, is that you've said, hey, Neil, I see stuff happen to people all day, every day. That's my living. You don't have to tell me that people get sick, have accidents or die, but I don't know what insurance I should have or what's right for my family. Over to you. And same with, and also we look after your superannuation and investments and that sort of thing. So it's like, hey, you guys, I'll stick with what I'm good at, and I want somebody else to do what they're good at.
That's right.
And it sounds like that's the model.
That's why I came and found you, because I knew that I knew what I knew,
Yeah.
but I didn't know. But one thing I knew is that when you get to 65, and if you don't have at least $1 million in your accounts, I tell you what, you're on the red line and you are stuck.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
And I see it as a nursing point of view in emergency of these elderly people. And I'm not talking elderly like 80s plus. I'm talking like maybe 65, 70s who are doing it tough. And they come in malnourished. They come in dehydrated.
It's not right, eh?
Sometimes they get hypothermia because they don't have the money to put power on. So I'm like, I don't want to do that to me and my family. And that's why I got onto you like 15 years ago to say, Neil, I know remember I said to you, I said, I probably won't see much of you, but I know where I need to be. And I know where I don't want to be. And I come to you and
we just check in.
And we sort that. And that's what you've done for me. So.
Yeah. And with, if it's okay to ask you about this, that I know that you had an ice cream incident, which led to a health scare,
yes,
I'd like to just a quick bit on that if you can, because it struck me as like, what? How is that possible?
What happened? Yeah.
But then also I'd like to, if you can lead it to your learnings from that, because you had some nice messages that you've now got some habits that you've formed and decisions you've made, and that's
changes.
That's kind of the get real with Neil bit that I'd like to.
It is the get real. Well, the get real bit is it does take a trauma sometimes to change your life, and so
what happened?
2020, I had a thick shake. I was sitting with my son, and I was part of the one of the nurse unions. There's a couple of nurse unions up here, and it was very hectic. And I was about 6 months into COVID as the president of this union. So you imagine how mad it is. And it was just crazy. And anyway, we're at lunch and I just took a sip. I swear to God, it was a sip out the top of the thing. Well, more a gulp, but and I just felt it go cold down my chest. And then my heart went funny. My heart stopped and then started and went funny. And it raced at over 200 beats a minute. And I felt clammy. I was getting dizzy, had to get to the hospital immediately.
You're an emergency nurse doing all this on yourself, I imagine.
And I'm like, oh, Jesus, I know what's going on. You know, when you know too much, it sucks.
Yeah, I wondered.
I say that. And I got straight into Brisbane Northside Emergency. And they wheeled me in, and within 8 minutes, they put the paddles on my chest and they shocked my heart. So they had to restart my heart, because I was all out of shape. And that was like a wake-up call. And they fixed me up and they're joking about it. But deep down, you joke about it on the surface, but deep down you go, how did I get here?
Nice.
Why were my choices to allow everyone else to do everything in front of me instead of myself, looking after myself, and I looked after everyone else?
There you go. That was beautiful. I'm getting goosebumps again. I know that you told me that in my office, and that's the bit. That's it. Like, why
did it come to that? It shouldn't have come to that.
So people listening might be able to see themselves in, like, maybe it hasn't got that bad that you need the paddles on the chest, but what have I allowed to happen to me rather than me putting me at a priority?
Well, yeah, that's right. Me last. Yeah. Because I did everything for everyone else and just flogged myself, and then that was that. So, and I wasn't overweight. I was probably about 6 or 7 kilos overweight, but I also had a stomach. It's like an allergic thing in my stomach where there's a technical word, eosinophilia or esophagitis, if you want to know.
I'll look it up later.
Look it up. Anyway, so I've been to a gastro and he told me the right stuff to eat, but you never do, because, you know, you're on the run and you just eat and drink. And
milkshakes are all right, aren't they?
Yeah, milkshakes were great. So I fully said, stuff it. I never want to be zapped again. And I fully changed all of my diet. Like, so I don't eat any wheat, dairy, caffeine, no cold stuff at all. So I go to it really hard. Do you know how hard it is to just get tap water at anywhere? Just, can I have tap water? They come with cold water. I said, sorry, I want just tap water, just room temperature tap water. Yeah. Oh, I said, just out of the sink. Are you sure? yes, that's all I want. Because they're like, and actually the other day I went to Shell.
I might bottle this stuff. I might bottle this tap water stuff.
Yeah, I might as well. Just room temperature. It's all good. You don't need it cold. She goes, do you want a nice cold drink? I said, only if you want to call an ambulance.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are you joking? But you're getting lollies. Because I got lollies for the kids.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're buying all that and you're worried about your heart? And I was like, no, if I have cold stuff, you'll be calling an ambulance. She goes, serious? I was like, yeah, serious.
Yeah. And can I ask you, so like it is a life-changing moment, like that sort of stuff. And can I ask you about some of the things that you've introduced? You talked there about food stuff.
Yeah, so
mindfulness, perhaps.
So food, I can have porridge. I love porridge, so I can eat all that sort of stuff. So I eat all that nice warm porridge and stuff.
Yeah.
And you can have bacon and eggs and all that.
Yes, you can.
I used to be against substituting. So like bread, instead of, because I couldn't have bread, but I wouldn't go next gluten-free bread. I thought stuff it, I wanted sandwiches, but it just impeded too much for my life. So I thought, just find gluten-free bread. So that's what I do now. Pay a bit more, but that works.
Yep.
The other big thing that happened to me was sleep was really bad. Like I thought I had sleep apnea. So I went and got that invested. One big tip is go and find the doctors and professionals to check you out and sort you out. Because I went to a sleep specialist. He was fantastic. Made me do the sleep study and he goes, you haven't got insomnia. We're going to get you off sleeping tablets. We're going to get you right. And so, because the two things beds are good for, what are they?
I'm going to guess one is sleeping.
And the other one's sex.
Okay.
And that's it.
That's good.
If
from a nursing perspective, anyway.
That's right. Well, not much of them, one of them anyway. But even reading books, he said, read books sitting out on a couch.
Right.
And when you start to feel tired, go to bed then. And so I did that. So I'd read, and I only read like 2 or 3 pages. I'm a hopeless reader, but it made me read a bit.
Yep.
And then I got into doing meditation.
Yeah. Which I think everybody's sort of heard about. Meditation's good.
Yeah, no, I do a basic one. I do it's Taoist breathing. It's it's an ancient Chinese one.
Yep.
And it is very simple, takes 3 minutes. And it's just a way of breathing. That's all it is. There's no thinking to it. You just concentrate on your breath going in and out.
Beautiful. And
work on that. Yeah, because I'm not one of these meditation people, because if I sit and meditate, I just think about all the jobs I've got to do. So that's not meditation, that's stress. So then I just
put your attention on your breath.
On your breathing.
Focus on your
nothing
breathing.
Else. Forget it. Because it's all too much. If I'm going to have to think that much, I might as well get up and work. You know what I mean?
I'll introduce this in a future Get Real Neil series, but last Friday I had my first ever ice bath experience.
Oh, thanks.
But it was with no, you don't have to do it. But the breathing was a big part of the lead in learning the breath work to be able to control yourself, because the water's freezing and it takes your breath away. Like it takes your breath away, and the challenge is to find your breath and to find your control and comfort whilst it's still freezing. But you can actually get to that point. And so I think that will be coming later. It was a good journey.
Yeah, no, that is good.
I've done it once.
Is that the guy that swam in the Antarctic?
That's Wim Hof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of up the line. I'm talking to kind of Australia's version of Wim Hof. He's guided me through it. So been in once, keen to go back and do lots more. It was a great experience.
Good. It's good. Yeah, if I do that.
Yeah, the cold
stops. Yeah. So so that's why I just do a bit of breathing, which is great. And I walk. I make myself get up at 10 to 5, do a bit of morning reflection.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And 10 to 5 before everyone else. So I'm just a bit of morning reflection and say
before
thank
you get
to
into
the sunrise.
Beautiful gratitude.
Yeah, and then 5:15, go for a 4 to 6K walk with my wife. So we do a lap.
Yep. And so then, putting you first on, it's going to be a busy household with 4 boys getting up and you got to go be where they need to be. So plus work.
Yeah, work.
Putting the start of the day about you.
Yes, and getting it all sorted. And The other thing I did too, actually, is I took all my annual leave and long service leave, and I've taken 7 months off now from my emergency job and just gone full tilt into Support Worker Hub. So
good on you.
But it's just a passion, and I don't find it work. It's not work anymore. I have to do it.
I have to do it. Yeah.
It's not a. And there's. I always found I was running in sand. You ever have that? Like when I used to work, I used to run in sand all the time, and I'd have 6 double shot espressos to get through the day. Yeah, I was hardcore, hardcore. And I just would run in sand all the time, and that's all life felt like. And
now 7 months,
nothing.
Way, yeah.
So it's really good, and no alcohol. I haven't had a drink since August 2020. So
good on you.
Yeah.
Possible. It's possible.
Oh, it's and I don't miss it. I don't miss alcohol. And I can drive when people have had a drink. I can drive. I don't care, and I can still just have just as much fun.
Good time. Yeah.
I don't need it. It's really big change not drinking alcohol. Big change. So it was good. Really good one.
I really love, Phill, just sort of as we wrap up now, but I really love that you've gone down a particular path that clearly the nursing suits you and the way that you approach things and helping others, and you're there for others. I love the fact that you've had the business idea. You've just seen how you could make a difference and help others. It's a shame, but then in hindsight, we'll all look back and go, he had to go through those couple of launches and relaunches, and I don't know what my product is, and I had to have those moments to make it work. I'm sure that from your journey and your description and your commitment, the passion you're talking about, this has to work. Like it just seems like it just will, and that we'll be looking backwards going, would have been nice if it worked first go, but the reason it's worked so well is because I've had to go through those. And I really thank you for sharing some of your personal insights as well as the business insights around what you've gone through that could perhaps help others. And that's the idea with this Get Real with Neil, is it's about having conversations with good people who have been through stuff, still going through stuff. We'll always be going through stuff, but just learning that there's a little bit more control that we have when we put ourselves first.
Choose. You have the choice.
I was talking to somebody recently and wrote down their little saying, which was it's okay to say no to stay in flow, because there's a bunch of things you can get distracted with. But if you're on the path, if you're on the passion journey of this is where we're going, this is what we're doing, it should be easy to say, oh no, that's not quite where I'm going.
That's right.
No, and stay in flow. And it feels like that when I talk with you, and I hope the viewers get that you are in flow when you're doing Support Worker Hub. Like and you're there for the end user. That's so evident coming from you.
It's all about the clients. Like one thing people, marketing people say to me, but you're there for the service providers. Like, no, they're the vehicle to make sure clients are well, and I want to help them. I'm like an add-on to their culture to make sure that the clients get the best care possible, because they need to have meaning in their life, and that's what it's about. That's why I do it. I don't do it for service providers. I do it to make sure that clients can get some meaning, and that's
fantastic. That's fantastic. And I've hopefully pressed record on this correctly, and you can use that, but you've said on your own website if you want to.
Oh, cool. Thanks, bud.
If you haven't already got it up there in those words, I think you've summarized it beautifully. I think if people understood that from Phill, that would have to resonate with a lot of people.
Cool. Well, thank you for your time, Neil. That was great.
Yeah, thanks. I am sure that I certainly have, and I'm sure that others will get things out of what we've talked about today, Phill.
I hope they do. I hope they get a few insights, and if they've got any questions they send you, I'm happy to answer them too if they need.
Wonderful. Yeah, please. We'll link them back through to you.
Cool. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Phill.